There is a saying among the elders in the monastery: aging is not for the weak. When people hear this, they often think it refers to wrinkles, gray hair, or aching bones. But the truth is much deeper than that. Aging is not difficult because the body changes. Aging is difficult because life slowly removes the illusions we once depended on. When I was a young monk, I believed wisdom came from learning many teachings. I spent hours reading sacred texts, memorizing philosophies, and listening to teachers. I believed knowledge would prepare me for life. But the older monks would smile quietly. One day I asked my teacher, "Master, when will I finally feel wise?" He looked at me and said something I did not understand at the time. He said, "When life takes enough from you, wisdom will arrive." At the time, I thought it meant hardship, but now, many decades later, I understand. Aging is not simply the passing of time. It is the slow process of watching life change again and again until you finally learn what truly matters. When you are young, you believe time is unlimited. You think opportunities will always return. You think the people you love will always be there. You think your energy will never fade. So you rush through life. You chase success. You chase approval. You chase the next milestone. But aging teaches a quiet and powerful lesson. Everything is temporary. I remember a man who once visited the monastery. He was wealthy, successful, and respected, but he looked deeply exhausted. He told me, "I spent 40 years building my career. Now I finally have everything I wanted, but I am too tired to enjoy it." His voice carried regret, the kind that cannot be undone. And that is when I realized something important. Life does not punish us with age. Life simply reveals what we chose to ignore. Aging forces us to face the truth about how we spent our time. It reveals whether we lived intentionally or whether we simply drifted. Many people fear aging because they see it as loss of youth, loss of beauty, loss of strength. But a wise person sees something different. Aging is also the removal of distractions. When you are young, the world is loud. Everyone tells you who to be, what to achieve, and what success should look like. It becomes easy to lose yourself in expectations that were never truly yours. But as the years pass, something beautiful happens. The noise begins to fade. You start to realize that much of what seemed urgent was never important. Arguments that once felt necessary now feel meaningless. Possessions that once felt valuable now feel heavy. And slowly, gently, your priorities begin to change. This is why aging requires strength, because it asks you to let go. Let go of the person you thought you had to become. Let go of the expectations you carried for decades. Let go of the belief that life must look a certain way in order to be meaningful. I remember sitting beside an elderly monk during the final months of his life. He had spent over 60 years in the monastery. One evening I asked him, "After all these years of meditation and practice, what is the most important lesson you learned?" He closed his eyes for a moment before answering. Then he said quietly, "Do not wait too long to live." Those words stayed with me, because many people postpone their lives. They postpone happiness until they are successful. They postpone peace until their problems disappear. They postpone joy until the future arrives. But aging teaches us something that youth refuses to accept. The future is not guaranteed, and time moves much faster than we imagine. When we are young, 10 years feels like forever. But when you reach 60 or 70, 10 years feels like a single breath. Suddenly, you understand that life was never about how much time you had. It was about how consciously you used it. This is why aging is not for the weak, because it asks you to face the truth about your life. It asks you to forgive yourself for mistakes. It asks you to release regrets that cannot be changed. And most importantly, it asks you to appreciate the present moment while it still exists. Many young people believe strength is measured by speed, running faster, working harder, achieving more. But true strength is something different. True strength is the ability to sit quietly with your life and accept it exactly as it is. It is the courage to reflect honestly on your choices. It is the humility to admit when you were wrong. And it is the wisdom to change course before time disappears. Aging teaches us that life is not a race. It is a series of moments, each one offering the opportunity to be present, grateful, and awake. And the strange thing is, the older I become, the more peaceful life feels, not because life became easier, but because I stopped fighting it. I stopped trying to control every outcome. I stopped believing I needed to prove anything to anyone. Instead, I began paying attention to simple things: the sound of rain on the roof, the warmth of morning sunlight, the quiet laughter shared with friends. These moments may seem small, but they are the true treasures of life. And unfortunately, many people only discover them when time is running out. So if you are listening to these words today, remember this: aging will come to all of us, but wisdom is optional. You do not need to wait for decades of experience to begin living differently. You can start today. You can start by asking yourself a simple question. If time is limited, what truly deserves my attention? Is it endless worry? Is it proving yourself to strangers? Is it chasing goals that bring no real joy? Or is it something deeper? Connection, presence, peace. When you begin to focus on what truly matters, aging stops feeling like a burden. Instead, it becomes a teacher. Every year becomes a reminder to live more intentionally. Every wrinkle becomes evidence that you have experienced life. And every gray hair becomes a symbol of the wisdom that only time can offer. So do not fear growing older. Fear only living unconsciously. Because the greatest tragedy is not aging. The greatest tragedy is reaching the end of life and realizing you were too distracted to truly live it. And remember this final thought: aging is not for the weak, but for those who are willing to reflect, grow, and awaken. It may become the most meaningful chapter of all. Sit with this thought today. Look at your life with honesty and ask yourself one simple question: am I living in a way that my older self will thank me for? Because one day, that older self will arrive. And when they do, they will be grateful for every moment you chose to live with awareness.